My name is André. I'm from the Provinzial Insurance Company from Germany. I'm head of IT architecture and central development.
Hi, my name is Björn. I'm a consultant and I work for the Provinzial, and I was part of the team that introduced Camunda there.
Yeah. So, and we will give you a short introduction how we implemented Camunda and maybe show the three pillars of success, how Camunda worked for us. So a short introduction to the company, maybe to understand who we are and what we do. Besides Allianz insurance company, a private company, we also have the model of public insurances in Germany, which have restricted areas where they can sell their products. Our area is in the northern part of Northern Westphalia and in the north. And some KPIs, we have about a revenue of 3.5 billion euros, and we have about 3,000 employees in the company, plus about 6,000 sales agents in the sales agencies in these three regions. And we have about 10% of our employees in the IT department, which is part of the company. It's not excluded. And we have business analysts, developers, and operators as well, as we have a lot of, Robert already mentioned it this morning, we already have a lot of applications that we build by ourselves and host by ourselves, so we have to operate the technology we use. And a lot of applications are also written in COBOL, the older ones, because, for example, the Hamburger Feuerkasse already exists since 1576, so we have a long tradition. Maybe we didn't have workflow automation since that, but very close to that date we introduced the mainframe, and we still have that. The newer applications are written in Java, so just for that. Okay, 3 is the number of the day. We have 3 points on the agenda. Workflow automation, how is the status quo right now at Provinzial NordWest? The 3 pillars of success, and an outlook and a conclusion as far as we can take it. So in 2014, Björn already mentioned that, a project team started to find a solution how to intensify the process orientation in our company. As I said, we have a lot of applications, and the walk through that application during a process was done by our business specialists. In this case, for example, if we get a claim about anything, a person has to go through different applications and manage that. We already have had some automation in the background, like nightly badges, and we still have that. But what we wanted is a workflow automation and a platform that orchestrates these manual tasks and the process through these applications automatically. So obviously the chosen platform is Camunda. I wasn't in the team 2014, but you can see Björn on the right side and some other guys, so it wasn't a great team that introduced that in 2014, and I think already or also Bernd supported us in the beginning, so like the model that Robert told us this morning. So that was the goal, to go to a process orientation. And how did we do that? We started with a small pilot, a simple process that enables our field and or agency workers and office workers to cope with requests for documents that a customer sends to them. So maybe I've lost my life insurance contract and I need it, I want it, so I ask my sales agent, and he starts the process, which in the background identifies the right application, which holds my contract and starts the process to produce the document and send it right to the customer. So we have about 11 document types that we're able to request at that moment, and 2 user groups, as I said, sales agents and back office workers. So we We try not to leave the processes as they were initially, but to improve them. And with the process from 2014, it still exists. Now, me as a customer, I can request the documents by myself just using our website, typing in my contract number, and choose the document type I want, and then I get it at home. We work, as I said, we are a traditional company. We already work with a lot of paper, so I could download it as a PDF, maybe, but most of our customers really want papers. So this process is still alive. The second process, I think Robert called this the Lighthouse project. Yeah, as we only have 30 minutes, I don't want to go into detail, but what is the use case here? It's a car use case as well. You have a broken window in your car, you go to the garage, you let repair that, and they send us the invoice because you are insured at our company. So the process does a lot of things. It identifies the contract and so on. And what we used the process also for was to fill in some technology gaps we realized in the beginning with the first pilot. And one thing is that we didn't want only react to human interaction over, like we've seen, over a website, but we also want to react on electronic structured documents like invoices we receive from a car class or other companies. They send us electronically to us, and this document starts the process. So we needed some software to cope with that. And during the process, it's here the audit request, we maybe see, okay, the invoice is maybe too high or some positions don't look right. So we have a service provider we give the invoice to, and he checks it for us and says, okay, it is okay or it is not. So we have the need to interact during the process with, in this case, service providers. We need to cope with unavailability of services, of web services, because of the mainframe, not every service is available 24 hours a day. And we didn't want to have as much incidents, so we built some technology to cope with that. We want to use user task handling, as Michael already showed. Sometimes you cannot automate the whole process. You have to give it to a human who makes a decision. Björn will go in detail later. And we needed business rule management. So this process integrates all that, and therefore it was not only a business thing. It was only a technical thing to do it like that. So how did it go on like from that point? We started with 2 processes in 2014. At the end of this year, we will have about 68 processes. They vary in complexity between these 2 processes I've shown. So some are more simple, some are more complex. What is also interesting is we introduced Camunda DMN in 2016. Before that, we used another business rule engine. But using Camunda DMN was really a success because it's easy to use, as Michael showed us, easy to implement, so it really increases there. And what is also, what is also interesting maybe is because the new license model depends on that. It's interesting how many flow node instances, so how much activities or nodes does the token Michael showed us flow through a process, and how many decisions did you take. So at the end of 2019, we will reach that number, about 3.2 billion decisions made after this year. So it's hard to predict these numbers. Each time I try to calculate them, I get a new number. Maybe tomorrow we have an estimation of 4 billions, I don't know. But it shows a little bit how successfully Camunda works in our company. So, to go in detail, we will say something about organization, method, and technology, because we think these 3 parts are the reasons for the success and the scalability of our processes. In the beginning, the little team I've shown you built these 2 processes, but we realized that won't work for the whole company. Though this team focuses on the platform and giving support to the other IT colleagues and the business units around that. We have a business IT alignment, so we have a business unit for contracting life and non-life insurance product, and we also have an IT department that is reasonable for that, and they build their own processes. So that's the reason why we get this large number of processes within the relatively short time. Yeah, just some processes, I didn't translate them. So, and how to spread the message into the company, we implemented 3 things, blog, which we use. We provide some news about the platform and new features Camunda implements or we implement. We provide training courses, BPM training courses, which, for example, Björn and me do, or other colleagues. So we do it from our team to the other teams. And once a year, we have a BPM community day where all BPM community members come. We are about 60 people right now. And we have different talks, and most talks are from the project team. So we celebrate the success and let the teams celebrate their success with their projects. And yeah, it's a nice event. So, and that was about organization. What about method, Björn?
Thanks, André. So, as Robert already said, we build our process agile. This means we do Scrum project for that, and we put something on top which we call our BPM framework, which is more or less organizational, and we have 4 things what we talk about now. We put some guidelines on modeling, we put some guidelines on specification, implementation, and test. And how do we do that? We will show now. The first thing are the modeling guidelines. So when we do trainings and we have no modeling guidelines, we have trainees, and they made processes, and all of them look different, but all of them are right. That's a problem because we want to have comparable processes. So we do it modeling guidelines where we say which BPMN2 elements we want to use, what we have for naming conventions, and we already also look at appearance aspects like direction and so on. So the second thing is we have design patterns. We show them in the trainings as well. For example, we have something when to use an error boundary event or when to look and evaluate the result in the gateway. So everybody does that in another way, and we want to have them in the right way and always comparable. And so then we have another thing. We have something like how to avoid redundant process instances. So idempotence is a very high feature we always need. Because when you click twice, you will not have 2 claims, and you have to avoid that, and we have something we provide for that. So comfortably readable and comparable processes are a high value for us, and we have that from our specialist department. We have somebody who said to me, so this is the first time I really believe that IT does what we do, what we want. And I can see that in the system. That was what Michael has shown us. We have this process, all the stages from developing to operating, and so it's really high value to have them good and put some love on it. So when we look at the process model, this is one aspect in specification, but it's not all of it. When we start process, we have to say, sorry. That we have an interface for that. We describe that as a web service, and we have a web service specification that we provide a template. We use Confluence for that, and we have templating there. And you have to take this template and say how your process interface looks like. Then we have authorizational aspects. So who is able to start the process and which right does it need? The other thing is the process itself needs a lot of rights. means if you have seen the car process, it has about 150 writes. So the whole process has so many services and has so many rights because he can handle every car insurance case. Means he needs VIP rights and so on. And we have a template for that as well. Then when you start the process, you have the first thing, you have a process context now, and you have variables that you have to store and that you have to manage. So we have a template for that as well. We have UML modeling for that, where we show our process context and which variables do we have, with which objects we handle. In addition, we have a data warehouse mapping there, where we can say which variable will go to our data warehouse. Then if we have a look at a service task, we have to link the service that is called. This is in our service repository also, sorry. Also described as a web service, and we have to say which process context variable will be mapped to which a variable in the interface of the web service. So we do this in Signavio, and we have a service integration specification for that. When we have business rules, it's very easy. We have the DMN model. We have the DMN model in Confluence. We have integrated there, and you can show and edit it there. And this is fair enough. This is easy. Then we have user task, and for user task, you have to describe the dialog as well. So we have a template that helps us to describe the user task dialog and which candidate will be or which candidate group is the right one for this user task, and which worker will get the user task. And then we have something special. So if you have workflow automation and you have fully automated workflow, your customers or your back office needs to know what has been done. And so we document that in Siebel, which is our user task interface as well. And we have documentation activities for that, and we have a special template for that. So there you can see how the process has worked and what has been done. So at the end, when the process is in the history, you need to care about housekeeping as well, and we have a housekeeping specification for each process where you can see when the housekeeping can be done. Okay, these are our specification guidelines. When we put a lot of love to that, and we have put a lot of work to that to have all these templates, and we still getting better with it. Then we have implementation guidelines. It's very easy with Camunda because Camunda is for us plain Java in the implementation, and as we already said, we have something for BPMN, but for the implementation for us it's Java. So normally this is very easy. We don't need too much guidelines for that. But one thing is that I want to mention is the versioning, because versioning is very complex. So if you want to have a 24/7 process, then you have normally running more than one process at one time, or one version at one time. And you need to, so Camunda itself has versioning for the model, and this is right. But the Java code you have to care for yourself, and we put some guidelines on how to do that. You have several strategies for that, and we show which one in which case is best. But Camunda is very easy and very good for us for that. Then let's look at the testing guidelines. So what we want to achieve is that we have a high automation for that. So first of all, we look at the process itself, and we have unit tests for that. This is very good provided by Camunda, and we use that intensively. On the second step, we look at the interfaces we have in the process. So we have user task we have to look for, which is another implementation. And we have the process interface that we have to look for. We have to look for the authorization aspect and so on. For us, normally we can use UFT for the user task, and we can use SOAP UI for starting the process instant and do our tests automatically as well. Then we created a tool I'll show later, which is called Excel-driven integration tests. So now we test the whole process with the interface not mocked anymore, but the real implementation for the services. And we have a tool that allows us to very easily describe our test cases, let them run automatically, and integrate that in our build chain as well, and that tests the process with the interfaces or the services. And the last step, we have to check the integration, and this is end-to-end then. So let's say this is called by web interface, then we have to check the web interface, and if the web interface works with our process. This is the last step. This is mostly then manual, but now you have not, 5 minutes, okay, too many things. We already had 20 minutes. Okay. So, as Robert already said, integrating Camunda is very easy, and we realized that as well, and that was the main reason why we choose Camunda, because Camunda seamlessly integrated in our IT infrastructure. So we found something for modeling, which was fine for us. We put Signavio on top of that. We're now looking if we start Cavemo, but you will tell that. So we have everything for development, staging, and deployment. You don't need anything else. We have our Java process. We use Tomcat. We use an MS SQL server. We need something else. So the runtime is fine for us. We have a task list, which was very important for us to have one. And we had already Siebel, and so the Camunda needs to integrate in Siebel, and that was something no other one has allowed than Camunda. So let's have a look at business rules. We started with visual rules. At that time there was no DMN. Now we have DMN. That was very, very, very fine. We have reporting monitoring, we show us, we have authorization where we can use our standards, and we don't need an additional authorization system for that. So something we added, for example, testing tools for our business analysts so that they can test process as well automatically. We have something for DMN, we have something for the process itself, and we describe the test cases and the test data in Excel, and then can automatically run the process or the DMN table and get the results out there, and we can integrate that in our development chain as well. This is really, really good for us because we have high automated process testing, and this is really necessary because we want to improve our process and want to get better with them, and so we need automatic testing. So then another aspect which is very interesting for us is, as you already shown in the car glass case, we want to integrate all user groups in the same process. Means we will have our private customers that has a portal, and they use a web app and they use the same process. Then our insurance broker or our resellers or our back office or whoever, they all use the same process, and we have different integration for that. That we, in this case, we start the process based on the FTP file and in the XML. In the other case, it's web app, but it's always the same process. Another case is we use data extraction, in this case based on TensorFlow, to start a process, and this gives us really some value of the process. So we have not only 50% from all the cases we have, we get 100% on it, and that is really important. So this makes us efficient. Then we have user task integration. I need to hurry a little bit because we have no time. User task integration.
5 more minutes because of the technical problems.
We still have 6 minutes. User task integration is another key value for us because we integrate not only our back office, we integrate our sales agents, insurance brokers, and customers as well. Means somebody goes to or calls our sales agent and says, I want to have a policy, and he does that on the telephone. This is not legal, so you have to get the check from him that he really wants to have that policy. In this case, the sales agent starts the process. And then he's finished, and we have user task for that, and this user task goes to our customer portal. So if you open the customer portal, you will see, I have a user task, I have to do something. Then you look at that, and you get your list of all user tasks you have. In this case, it's a very good customer. And if you click on the details, you will see what is your task you have to do. There's some description. If you click on Jetzt beantragen, you claim the user task. And now he can work on it. This is here the task form, and here he can say, I can accept or can reject this offer. And if he accepts it, our process automatically runs away. And 2 minutes later, he will have his policy, and that is really fine. And this is a real good instrument to avoid media breaks and optimize processing time. And how do we measure processing time?
Yeah, good question. We have two possible ways. Oh yeah, I need that. Just 3 more slides. So on the left-hand side, we have Camunda Optimize, which we introduced, and we give it now to a business unit that is responsible for claims to test it. But this is one way. I don't want to go in detail. Michael already did that, to analyze the process. But sometimes you have the need to analyze more than the process, because maybe the process in Camunda is just a part of the whole business process, and you have more information in your other business applications. So you need a data warehouse to analyze that. And we define, as Björn said, some process context variables. We move to the data warehouse to do some reporting about that. And finally, outlook. What are our next steps, our plans for the future? As I said, establish Camunda Optimize, integrate AI. We already use it to start processes, but we also want to use it for automating decisions. So user tasks that formerly went to humans now shall go to an AI. We already have a prototype, and it works very well. We want to put Camunda in a box because, as Björn said, we still run it in Tomcats, and we want to use container and cloud technology because of the scaling effects we need. We want to establish embedded engines. We already have 2 projects that use both DMN and BPM engine in their applications. And we want to replace Signavio, or modeling software for the BPM N models, with Cavemo on-premise, not the cloud version Michael showed, but the on-premise version. We want to keep our processes in our IT center. So that's the outlook. And a short summary, that's the BPM community last year. So about 60 people. Björn is already an arm there. So there are some people in the company that are really looking forward to work with the BPM method, to use Camunda as the workflow engine. And we think these 3 success factors, organization, method, and technology together bring you a successful BPM to your company, maybe. That's from us. Thanks for your attention. Bye.